When Captain America throws his mighty shield, all those who chose to oppose his shield must yield. If he's led to a fight and a duel is due, then the red and the white and the blue will come through when Captain America throws his mighty shield.
Hello everybody, welcome to the Comic Book Cover. I'm Aaron.
I'm Kevin, and this is Episode 2, Attack of the Super Soldiers.
Before we get into Captain America, let's talk about what's coming up from Boom Studios.
Boom Studios.
Grant Morrison doing the
Apparently.
origin of Santa Claus.
Yes, last year it seems that Boom Studios announced in the days before Comic-Con International that Grant Morrison was going to be working on a new project for them. And it appears that that project is going to be Klaus, an origin story for Santa Claus.
And with Grant Morrison's name involved, you can be sure that's going to be an interesting take on Santa Claus. From what I gather, it's Santa Claus fighting injustice like in a Conan-esque sort of thing.
Yeah, like Santa Claus the Barbarian, Santa Santa Claus the Terminator.
Which, considering they're pulling from the Viking and Siberian Santa Claus mythology, it kind of fits.
And put Grant Morrison in charge of retelling the origin story of an already existing epic mythical figure that we all know.
Yeah.
It's
And how many times has he failed us in this sort of thing at that?
how many times has he failed?
Good point. Obviously, I'll admit I'm a Grant Morrison mark. I've read I haven't read everything he's written, but I've read a lot of it. And Invisible is one of my all-time favorite stories. Moving on to our featured comic.
Our featured comic.
When Captain America throws his mighty shield.
One of my favorite teams in comics.
The Man with a Plan.
He has such a great plan that he gave us the Shield and the Daredevil Netflix TV show. That man is Jeff Loeb, but he also wrote one of our favorite Batman stories in Hush.
As a matter of fact, he also had a little bit to do with the Long Halloween, and well, and here we go, Halloween Madness, another nice little Halloween cover, but y'all remember him there, and who else's name is on there?
Tim Sale.
Tim Sale, oh, wait a minute, isn't Tim Sale doing this too?
He is.
Would you? Oh, imagine that.
They did the Long Halloween, they did a Haunted Night, which this issue was collected in that. They did Superman for All Seasons, which is a great Superman story. Then they moved to Marvel and did what they call the Color Series.
Yes, the Color Series.
You have Daredevil Yellow, Hulk Gray, Spider-Man Blue, and now Captain America White. These guys have written so much great stuff, it's a no-brainer that this is going to be one of the best stories to come out this week. I'll go ahead and say, hands down, Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale got it locked down this week for sure. And I, for one, cannot wait for Captain America White.
And with such an iconic character too, such an iconic character, got a little bit here about what to expect.
The Howling Commandos.
I mean, yes.
Dum Duggan.
The Halloween and the premise of the story, the Howling Commandos looking to kick back and relax, which I think every Howling Commando story starts off with them trying to kick back and relax.
It never quite works.
We're
Nick
also
Fury's the only one that's just like, let's go.
Yeah, and we're also supposed to see a pre-Winter Soldier Bucky.
Which I think is pretty cool. I'm a big fan of Winter Soldier. It's one of my favorite stories, and it made Bucky Barnes cool again, because Bucky Barnes is really the Dick Grayson of the Marvel Universe in my opinion.
Most definitely. I mean, really, a lot of people could even argue that Bucky Barnes was really what gave a push to, really start going with the sidekicks.
I mean, yeah.
And making sidekicks that were worth paying attention to.
Robin was the first, and then I think the next that comes to mind is Bucky.
Yeah, Bucky.
Of course, there's a lot of cool ones, mainly on the DC side. Marvel's didn't really have that many cool ones, and Bucky's the only one that really survived that.
Yeah.
But yeah, 1941 story from World War I, hanging out with the Howling Commandos,
Bucky
Captain America,
Barnes.
Bucky Barnes, Tim Sale, Jeff Loeb,
and
bam.
An extra-sized issue as well.
Exactly.
When Captain America throws his mighty shield.
And since we're on this subject, let's go ahead and get into Marvel. So first off, on this one we have Age of Apocalypse #4. You know, and let the fittest survive is his motto.
I mean, that's Apocalypse. I think he's got a tramp stamp of that.
Yeah.
Let the fittest survive.
The X-Men and Apocalypse battling it out because everybody is pretty well. It's the Age of Apocalypse, continuing on from that story. So, who's gonna live and who's gonna die? Who's gonna take Apocalypse's place if Apocalypse goes down?
Yeah.
And of course, we have the X-Men movie coming up. That's gonna be Age of Apocalypse too.
Yes, and speaking of, have you been paying attention to the internet? Did you notice that now, all of a sudden, Apocalypse looks different in the screenshots?
He looks like Apocalypse from right here.
Yeah, he's less like a purple druid and more like a blue bad guy.
Well, definitely thumbs up for that. That's a step in the right direction. Moving on, there's a correction I need to make from the last video.
Yes, you need to apologize.
I apologize, because I forgot about this issue when naming off the one-shots, and I can't believe I forgot about it, because she is an iconic Marvel character, Peggy Carter.
This man has no chivalry.
None. And no respect for the Shield, apparently, either. Agent Carter, Shield, 50th anniversary, one-shot. And it's kind of pulling from the TV show a little bit. Which is, I haven't got to see any of it yet. You filled me in on a lot. I'm excited to see it. It's Netflix.
I'm a huge fan. Okay.
It's got Dum Dum Dugan.
Agent Carter. Okay. I'm not gonna do spoilers for those who haven't seen. I'm not gonna do spoilers. I'm just gonna be very careful with this. But let's just say you have Agent Carter. You have Shield before it was Shield.
And the Howling Commandos.
You have the Howling Commandos, you have Dum Dum Dugan, and you have Tony Stark's father. Yes, you have the beginning of Stark into. I mean, you've got
all the elements that create the building blocks of the Marvel universe,
and all wrapped in a perfect little stylized 1940s, 50s TV show type treatment to it. I mean,
And the comic seems like it's pulling from that, you know, the secret history of S.H.I.E.L.D. And of course, there was the Operation Sin comic from not long ago that was using Agent Carter, so it's kind of pulling from that too. So it's a little bit of the TV show, which obviously the TV show is pulled from the comics.
Yeah.
And then recent miniseries with Agent Carter. I'm going to pick this one because I'm a Peggy Carter fan. Sharon Carter, Agent 13 is another favorite character. All big to the Captain America universe.
Yeah, and like you'll hear me say a million times over, what a great time to be a comic fan, especially now that we're getting cooperation between the film studios and the comic books working together for once.
Yeah, if only we could get X-Men over there.
If only we could get X-Men,
And
Fantastic Four, Spider-Man.
Spider-Man's coming there.
But that's a whole nother
thing. All new Hawkeye #5, Jeff Lemire. Everybody knows Jeff Lemire.
Not everybody knows Hawkeye though.
Yeah.
He shoots arrows.
He's just another arrow guy. He's the purple one in the Marvel universe rather than the green one in the DC. Jeff Lemire did a great run of Green Arrow. It was genius of them to bring him over to Hawkeye. I read #1. I haven't been able to keep up because I read so much, but #1 was a really good issue. If you guys are Hawkeye fans, if you're Jeff Lemire fans, you should be reading this. Bucky Barnes, The Winter Soldier, #11. Great team. Alice Cott, Marco Rudy. They did Spider-Man Marvel Knights. That was great.
That was great.
Marco Rudy's an awesome artist. He did some work with Scott Snyder on Swamp Thing too.
And you know, and not just anybody can illustrate for Swamp Thing and get it right. I mean,
we've seen Yannick and Marco Rudy.
We've seen Swamp Thing look like Swamp Thing. We've seen Swamp Thing look like Gumby's disfigured cousin.
Yeah.
This is not the Gumby's disfigured cousin guy. This is.
Here's one you're going to be interested in. Guardians of Nowhere, #4. Bendis, and I think Diodata. I think that's his name. Don't quote me on that one, but he is a great artist. I've read all the issues so far, and basically in this, Gamora's been taken down for some mysterious woman, which I thought was Angela, but I could be wrong.
And for those who aren't sure but think that the word nowhere sounds familiar, we are speaking of a Guardians of the Galaxy spinoff.
Yes. Like most things, they're pulling from other stories. I hadn't read much Guardians of the Galaxy until the movie came out, and then I kind of started reading it. But I knew what they were, and a little bit. I knew Star-Lord and stuff, the basics. but I've never really read it much. This is an interesting one, Kevin, and we talked about this not long ago. Secret Wars Journal number 5. First,
But that's not even the bit that gets me.
no. First we have the Soska sisters. They're going to be in this comic.
That's
as
still not
characters.
the bit that gets me.
No, it's not, is it? Another little tidbit, those of you who watched the Daredevil show, Rosario Dawson, if you didn't know, she's playing Night Nurse. Night Nurse will be in this issue.
And that's still not the bit that gets me.
Still not. There is a story in this issue written by Scott Ackerman.
Scott Ackerman.
Comedy, bang, bang, comedy, bang. I love that show.
Run, Ronnie, run.
Big Reggie Watts fan, but
Mr. Show.
yeah. Apparently he'd done a Deadpool issue 250, which I don't read a whole lot of Deadpool.
No. Ackerman, Deadpool. I can see
Perfect.
that. I can see that. I can see that.
Totally.
Ackerman, Secret Wars, Soska Sisters, Night Nurse.
Interesting. I'm
They-
curious.
They better give me some Grant Morrison level.
Yeah. Spider Island number 4. Venom. Spider Island. Somebody's gonna die. Enough said.
An island full of spiders, and Venom is there too, and some big lady named the Spider Queen. So, yeah, we can assume someone's gonna die,
Yeah.
and
exactly.
it's gonna be someone with a spider on their suit, most likely.
Most likely. Speaking of spiders, we also have Spider-Verse number 5. Gwen Stacy, Spider-Gwen. Everybody loves Spider-Gwen.
Spider Gwen.
Man, that comic.
Spider Gwen.
And not just that,
Spider
Kevin.
Gwen.
I know you know this character. Spectacular Peter Porker.
Peter Porker, the spectacular Spider Ham. Yes.
You will find him in Spider-Verse. Those of you who are a little younger that didn't read the old Spectacular Spider-Man comics didn't know that there was a backup that had Peter Porker, the Spectacular Spider-Ham in it. As a pig in a Spider-Man costume. Let's go ahead and move on because next is something that's very special to both of us. I'm going to mention the second one first. Star Wars Lando, Charles Soule, Alex Maleev. Charles Soule's a great writer, but Star Wars number 9, written by Jason Can't Do No Wrong Aaron. Stuart Eminem being the artist.
Can't do no wrong, Aaron.
Those of you who haven't been reading, you should be. It takes place between A New Hope and Empire. Jason Aaron's dialogue is so good. You can hear the actors' voices. The situations are so perfect. A couple issues ago, the woman mysteriously shows up claiming to be Han Solo's wife. Now,
Cool.
Leia and Han have been running from the Empire. They end up on this planet, asteroid, and she shows up there talking about how she's his wife. And of course, Leia's like, what is going on here? In the meantime, she threatens to call the Empire on them, and does. Leia gets him out of the mess, because Han's a goof, but how would you have Han any other way?
I imagine the wife thing probably occurred somewhere between drinking and gambling.
Something like that, yeah. I mean, it's...
But I can tell you, the untold Star Wars stories in between the films we're familiar with, they never felt a disappointment.
Yeah.
I mean, felt a disappointment. Why did I say felt a disappointment? They never felt it entertained.
Yeah. And just to
They never
plug
disappoint.
again, last week, Shattered Empire came out, which is the thing that brings us between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens, which I'm looking forward to. I
Yeah.
can't wait, because it's got the original cast in it. That's
Yes.
what makes it.
And this
Greg
would be
Rucka, Jaquetto, did The Punisher, they're on this now.
And this would be a great time to go pick those up and check those out, because anything that you're reading in that series is going to prepare you for the opening scene of the film.
Exactly. And that's one of the reasons I'm jumping in. Real quick before we leave Marvel, True Believers, Dollar Issues, She-Hulk number 1 by Charles Soule, excellent writer, and Thor number 1 by Jason Can't Do No Wrong Aaron. It's the female Thor. Everybody was in the uproar. How can you have a female Thor? I was too. I was on this boat because I hadn't read much Aaron at that time. But once I read it, was this is genius.
Maybe that's why it's $1.
It's $1. You gotta come pick it up because it's
$1. And I'm telling you, I do kid, I do jest. Those are, if you're not familiar with those, you definitely need to check them out. They are good stuff, and at $1 you can't go wrong.
Exactly. Jason can't do no wrong. Moving to DC Comics, we have Batman Arkham Knight Genesis number 2, tying into the video game, giving us a little insight into the Arkham Knight. Green Lantern Lost Army #4. There's a distrust between Kilowog and Guy Gardner. It comes to a head. Guy's been over in the Red Lanterns, but he ran into the Green Lanterns because they're lost in a different universe that's kind of displaced in time. Not just a different universe, but it's displaced in time. They run across this big thing that seemed like a battery, but it was red. There's all these creatures that were calling to it. They charge the rings off of it, turns green, and then the creatures couldn't see them anymore. I made it to issue 2. I didn't get to keep up with it all. Cullen Bunn's writing it though. Excellent writer. I'm a Green Lantern fan. John Stewart's the main character. I'm also a big John Stewart fan. We'll be talking about him again later too. But yeah, if you guys are Green Lantern fans, it's the 75th anniversary of Green Lantern. You should be checking this book out. Harley Quinn 20.
Harley Quinn 20. Now,
Harley.
it's Harley Quinn, so you already want it. But even though you're already gonna get it, might as well tell you what to expect.
Might as well.
Apparently, Harley has her sights set on Tinseltown.
Well, this should be interesting.
Fancies herself a bit of a starlet, maybe. And, of course, it's Harley Quinn, automatically going to become an overnight sensation, and then hijinks ensue.
Both, it couldn't be Harley without. I read the beginning of the series. Her neighbor totally looked like Glenn Danzig, had the belt and everything. It was a really funny issue. Amanda Connor and Jimmy Palmiotti, the husband and wife team in DC Comics. She's an excellent artist, but taking her hand at writing, she does the covers too. And Justice Gods Among Us, year 4, number 10. One of my favorite writers started this out, Tom Taylor. He moved on. Brian Bucoletto took over, who's been teaming with Francis Manipul. Great run on The Flash. Been doing detective comics too. Harley Quinn breaks out of her prison in Olympus. And apparently, you know, there's friction created with Wonder Woman and Superman right now. This is all leading into what we picked up in the game. This is, I believe, the last part. Maybe there's one more after this. I'm not. Ask Josh if you're in DME. He's keeping up with the whole thing. He is the Injustice Gods Among Us man.
Hashtag Ask Josh.
Ask Josh. Martian Manhunter #4. Now this one, I'm a big fan of. Rob Williams is the writer. Eddie Barrow's doing the art. Hardcore fans might be a little upset because Martian Manhunter's origins changed. Apparently, he wasn't the last Martian. There could be some brainwashing going on, but I think that's made it for an interesting character. And his psyche was split between many different characters, which are the former versions, like he had John Jones, and then there was Mr. Biscuits, which is interesting because I remembered him from before. And it's turned out to be a great story. Rob Williams, I've read a little bit of stuff, not as much as others. This is such a good comic that I'm predicting it's going to get canceled. Because Martian Manhunter is not an A character, we all know. I mean, those of you that know Martian Manhunter and love Martian Manhunter are going to be just as heartbroken as me. Great character.
I think, you know, I think we're all familiar with the Hawkeye effect.
Yes. This is one of the best books DC's putting out. And Captain Atom was too, and it got canceled, so I'm not going to be surprised. Robin, Son of Batman #4, Robin versus Deathstroke.
Robin versus Deathstroke. Right there.
Classic.
I mean, you know, right there. And especially, you know, if you just recently saw the Son of Batman animated films, Robin versus Deathstroke.
Yeah, and Damian has much more attitude than Dick Grayson, which really Deathstroke's always been considered a Grayson enemy. Yeah, he appeared in Teen Titans, Marvel.
Well, and then I was going to say, and for those who are fans of Teen Titans, Robin versus Deathstroke.
Exactly.
Which one of those times have you been disappointed? None. You won't be disappointed here.
I mean, if you guys haven't read, this kind of pulls from the Batman and Robin series that was written by Tomasi and Patrick Gleason. Patrick Gleason took over for Robin, Son of Batman. He's kind of going back and trying to figure out everything that happened. You know, maybe see if he can find his mom. It looks like his mom's been brought back already. So we have that. And of course, Nobody, which is the villain in the beginning of that story, his daughter is actually come after Robin, but now they've teamed up. So it's definitely, you know, and he's teamed with Goliath too. So it's pretty interesting because it all plays on Batman Inc. and the Batman and Robin series with Tomasi. It's been an excellent book so far. Patrick Gleason, it's in good hands with Patrick Gleason.
Oh yeah.
Art and writing, so you definitely have to give him props on that. Superman, Wonder Woman 21. another part of the epic true story. Not long ago, they faced off against the Suicide Squad in Smallville.
Mm.
Yeah, and everybody in Smallville knows he's Clark Kent because that's the thing.
Oh,
It's
well.
Al, he's Clark Kent.
Yeah.
And they were all like, you know, that doesn't change anything, but unfortunately, you're hanging out in our town is not working out too well. Things get destroyed.
Well, let's see. You know, if you watch the film, it's like, oh, hey, your Kryptonian friends have showed up and want to talk to you. Oh, they're killing our town.
Yeah, yeah.
Thanks for stopping by, Clark. Can you head back to Metropolis, please?
Exactly. Wonder Woman number 44. Now, if you haven't been reading, this is Meredith and David Finch, another married couple doing this. Done an excellent job. Finch's art's been getting better as it goes. They had big shoes to fill. They've done a great job on this. They've been redoing Donna Troy, her origin story. She's made a play. She did this bad thing, killed the men on Amazon. It is a whole thing if you've been reading before. I won't take the time to get into all that, but basically she was put in prison because she did a bad thing, and Strife convinced her to get out.
As Strife does.
Yeah, because she's pretty much a child in grown-up spot at this point. You know, she's only been alive for like a week or two at this point. So Diane is out looking for her, trying to keep her from getting in more trouble. This is going to be a classic in my opinion. Wonder Woman's had one of the best runs of her whole career since the New 52 started. There's a lot of haters of the New 52. They did Wonder Woman great justice, and this is one of the best comic books since the New 52. It's Wonder Woman.
I have to say, this is my favorite Wonder Woman.
Yes, it is an awesome, awesome story. So you should be checking that out, Wonder Woman 44.
And
Moving
now, on to the indies.
Yes, the Indies, one of my favorites. Fade Out number 9, Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips. They've done some great stuff. Fatal being another one that they also did for Image Comics. And this one's with Image Comics. It's their noir story, Golden Age Hollywood, murder mystery.
Nominated for an Eisner Award.
Yeah.
And this issue begins Act 3 of the story arc.
Which I believe, you know, this Act 3 I think will be the last one, might be Act 4. It's a contained story, so...
And we'll find out the Butler did it.
Yeah, well, you know, Fade Out number 9, the clue. Let's get into the big thing, also by Image Comics, and also our new segment, Comic of the Month. Tokyo Ghost number 1, Rick Remender and Sean Murphy. Sean Murphy, Chrononauts, Punk Rock Jesus, did the Wake with Scott Snyder, Remender, Black Science, Low, and some of you that read Marvel and know him for Captain America doing the Falcon Cat story. This is an awesome team. I'm so psyched about seeing what they pull out. From what I gathered, technology is like a new drug in the year 2089, and it's kind of like Facebook.
Yeah, something we can actually reflect on now, and you know, that's what I like about the indies. They take real life things and kind of bump it up. So now we're in LA 2089, so you're already thinking Escape from New York,
Yeah.
stuff like that. The world is addicted to technology, you know. And
Run by gangsters.
Run by gangsters. So now you're thinking Akira, and I can tell you what I've seen of it. It could be an anime.
It totally could. This is probably one of the most interesting premises I've seen. Definitely a good pick for Comic of the Month, and this is just for you, Rick Remender.
Yes, Rick.
And another special thing we'll mention, Heavy Metal Magazine recently got a new editor. We mentioned him before, Grant Morrison.
Heavy Metal Magazine has turned it up to 11. One higher.
You can leave the room, still hear the sustain.
Come back. You will still hear the comic sustaining.
This is a special issue though, because it's going to have some art from Jack Kirby, and not just any art, it's a special kind of art.
The man, Jack Kirby.
Barry Geller and Jack Kirby doing a story called Lord of Light. Now what's interesting is these pieces of art were used by the CIA for Operation Argo in 1979. Those of you...
Which familiar with the film Argo, where they had to free the hostages.
Yes. This artwork was used during this mission. It's never been seen by the public.
Yes, and now we're going to see it in Heavy Metal Magazine, thanks to Grant Morrison.
Which goes up to number 11.
That is 11.
So
Morrison, Kirby, Heavy Metal Magazine.
Number 276 is the issue you should check out. On to Valiant Entertainment, Bloodshot Reborn, number 6, The Hunt. It's a part 1 of an all-new arc and a jumping on point for those of you who'd like to jump into Bloodshot. This has an all-star team. Jeff Lemire
Mhm.
and Butch Guice.
Once
Enough
again,
said.
Captain America, the Winter Soldier.
Yeah. And Jeff Lemire, Sweet Tooth, the Green Arrow. He's working on Hawkeye for Marvel, and you can't go wrong with that. That's an awesome team.
Told you this episode was Attack of the Super Soldier.
Told you. Now,
I'm sensing a running gag with those titles. I'll have to look into that.
yeah, we'll have to look into that. Now, here's one of my favorite segments in our final segment. From the Vault. We have Green Lantern number 89. Now, this is the Green Lantern Green Arrow story that was written by one of the greatest teams in comics.
Denny O'Neil
and
Neil
Neil
Adams.
Now, this is actually the last issue of Green Lantern. 89 was the last one. They ended up picking up the rest of the story and backup stories for the Flash. But what makes this all special is this run is where we got the introduction to John Stewart. These guys are the ones that created John Stewart. For Batman, they created Ra's al Ghul. This is the story in the 70s where they attacked drugs, where Roy Harper got addicted to heroin.
Even if you're just a fan of the Justice League animated series, you'll remember this story being featured in an episode where John Stewart goes to his old neighborhood and Green Arrow is with him, and they're going up to him, and that epic thing. You saved the Green Man, you saved the Purple Man, but what about your own kind?
And it was the debut issue with this team. It was Hal Jordan. But yeah, I mean, it's a classic. That's everything that's good about Green Lantern, especially Green Arrow. Some of the best Green Arrow, and it all started. They did this road trip together, and they went across the U.S. and all this stuff happened. This was the final issue of Green Lantern. You know, last week we were in BME. This week we're in the Money Tree, and the Money Tree is where you'll be able to find all these great things.
Back issues.
Back issues galore.
This issue right here was taken from a box right over there.
So
it can be yours.
If you're looking for cool back issues, you need to come to Triplet Street and go to the Money Tree and check out our back issues. If you're looking for new stuff, you go to BME. And if you get a file at BME, you get 25% off. If you get 5 or more titles.
Do the math on that. 5 titles, 25% off. By the time you have hit your 5th title, that title is pretty much free.
Pretty much. You can't beat a deal like that. And like I said, if you're looking for back issues, you just come a little bit, across the way over to Money Tree, and we've got all kinds of cool stuff. It's lining the walls. We've got boxes over by the register. We've set some of these choice picks out for you viewers to see. Some old Captain America. We've got old Action Comics. We've got all kinds of cool stuff. I bought a lot of Jack Kirby stuff here. Wolverine.
I mean, you know these. I don't have to say any. You recognize these covers, and they need to go in your box.
They need to go in your box. Finally, before we wrap up, we want to mention next week's episode. It was supposed to have been this week's, but I figured since Batman Day is next week, we'll make next week the Batman episode, and we'll be talking about a lot of Batman stuff. Our From the Vault will be a Batman comic, one that we will be giving away. We've already snuck it out in the first episode, so we'll be talking about the Dark Knight Returns in our From the Vault section.
Frank Miller.
Frank Miller, you can't go wrong with Frank Miller. It's a great movie, and we have it over at BME, the animated version by Bruce Timm. You also can't do no wrong. And also, on Friday nights for you Magic players, we do FNM, Friday Night Magic. We'll be giving away lots of cool prizes. Make sure to check Facebook for that, and Planeswalker Owensboro. And I think we pretty well wrapped the show up. Anything else to add there, Kevin?
Well, I believe there's only one thing left for us to say. Stay tuned, true believers.
Excelsior.